Now, good evening, everyone. I welcome you back to our channel once again. I hope so una dey enjoy the lectures and una dey gain one or two things from these lectures we dey put out. Today, we will discuss the kingdom fungi. Now, the kingdom fungi is a very interesting kingdom, and they're interesting because long before they classify that kingdom along with the kingdom of plants, and so for many years, this kingdom no dey on its own. They been classify them together as plants. Meanwhile, they get characteristics wey dey very different from the characteristics of plants. So today we will discuss the kingdom fungi. Wetin be the characteristics wey this kingdom get? First of all, make we ask ourselves which members, which organisms dey this kingdom wey we dey call fungi. The organisms wey we fit find for this kingdom wey be the kingdom fungi include organisms such as the mushrooms, the toadstools, the Aspergillus niger, Aspergillus flavus, and Rhizopus stolonifer. All these organisms dey for inside this kingdom wey we dey call the kingdom fungi. So e dey very important to know this kingdom, to know the different organisms wey dey for the kingdom, and to fit recognize all these different organisms dey very important for anybody wey be biologist or microbiologist. Now, the next thing wey we go talk about na the characteristics, the features. Wetin we go use take know say okay, these organisms na fungi dem be or dem no be fungi. So we go look at some of the characteristics wey these organisms bin get. Now, one of the characteristics na say they be eukaryotes. For the videos wey we don put out before, we don talk say different types of cells dey. Cells dey wey we dey call prokaryotic cells, and cells dey wey we dey call eukaryotic cells. Now, these eukaryotic cells na cells wey dey more specialized. They dey at a higher level of specialization. And wetin this one mean na say the cells bin get membrane. E get membrane wey bin surround different structures wey we dey call organelles. These structures dey inside those different cells. So fungi na eukaryotic cells dem be. They get all these different organelles wey dey inside them, and this one dey important to note. Another important thing to note na say many of the fungi dem dey unicellular in nature, while other ones bin dey multicellular in nature. And this one means say if you say something be unicellular organism, that means say the thing dey appear as only a single cell. And a very good example of such fungi na yeast. Yeast dey appear as a single cell, just one cell. Now, other fungi dey wey dey appear as many cells together. So that one we dey call am multicellular organism. Now, example of multicellular organism na our toadstools, our mushrooms. These ones na multicellular organism dem be, and e dey important to understand this very basic difference. Another thing to know na say although the fungi get many characteristics wey plants bin get, but they get some things wey they no get. For an example, they no get chlorophyll, so they no fit undergo photosynthesis because chlorophyll no dey, chloroplast no dey. So no green pigment to use to track energy of the sun. So fungi, they no get chlorophyll, they no get roots, they no get stem, they no get leaves. All these things they no get them at all, and this na very important feature or characteristic wey dem get. Another important thing to note na say the fungi dey store their excess glucose in the form of glycogen. Now, normally, as the fungi dey imbibe energy, they get energy from different substances wey they ingest, take into a system. The ones wey be excess, usually now those energy dey in the form of glucose. Now, sometimes you go get some excess glucose wey you no fit use at the time being. You need to store that excess glucose. E dey store that excess glucose in another form of another chemical or another compound wey we dey call glycogen. So this thing dey important to note because na the same thing wey even many other much higher organisms dey do like that. They go dey store their glucose. Any glucose wey they no use, they go store am in another form, either glycogen. Some higher organisms go store am as fat like human beings. So this na very important feature wey the fungi get. Another feature wey we need to know na say the fungi dey feed through a type of nutrition wey we dey call saprophytic nutrition or saprophytic feeding. And saprophytic feeding, wetin this one mean? Saprophytic feeding na say that organism dey feed on dead and decaying matter. So anything wey don die or wey don dey spoil, wey dey decay for ground, any organic matter, like an animal, or if it be leaves, or if it be tree, or if it be trunk, back of tree, anything wey be organic matter wey dey decay, many fungi dey feed on such organisms. And how dey take feed on such organisms? Wetin dey do na say dey go dey on top the organism. That's why many times if you look, you fit find mushrooms go dey grow on top the back of tree wey don fall down, tree wey don die. Now wetin these organisms dey do? Wetin dey do na say dey get some enzymes wey we dey call hydrolytic enzymes. Now these enzymes, dey go secrete some of these enzymes. These enzymes, dey go use these enzymes take digest a little of the material, that organic material wey dey wan feed on. Dey go digest am small, dey go come suck up, absorb all those materials, all those things wey dey don digest for inside the body of the dead or decaying organic matter wey dey feed upon. Dey go come absorb that one, the thing wey dey don digest, dey go absorb am back into their body, dey use am dey grow. So this one dey important to know, because that is the thing wey we dey refer to as saprophytic feeding, and e dey important for every biologist to understand this. Another thing to understand na say the cell wall of fungi, e dey made of wetin we dey call chitin. Now this chitin na polymer carbohydrate, and I don tell una before say if you call something polymer, that means say na giant molecule wey dey made up of many smaller molecules. The smaller ones, we dey refer to them as monomers, and these monomers go join together to make a larger molecule wey we dey refer to as a polymer. Now in this example, chitin na the polymer, and it is made up of smaller molecules, and the smaller molecule wey dey make up this chitin na N-glucosamine. N-glucosamine na the N-acetylglucosamine na the name of the smaller molecule wey dey come together to make this larger molecule wey we dey call chitin, and na carbohydrate. E dey important to note say this one we dey find am for the cell wall or the body of different eukaryotes. This one dey important. Now some eukaryotes dey get wetin we dey call a vegetative body. Na long body like that, like tube, wey we dey call this body hyphae. And this hyphae get different, e dey carry all the genetic materials, e dey carry different substances, sugars, proteins wey these fungi dem dey use. And e dey very delicate, e be like thread, like long thread. E dey for the body of many fungi. Now no be every fungi get this hyphae, but fungi wey get this structure, they also dey, and we dey call that structure hyphae. Dey important to note. Now for reproduction, the fungi dey reproduce in two major ways. Remember say this fungi dey fit be either unicellular or multicellular. Unicellular like yeast, and multicellular like our mushrooms and toadstools. So if na unicellular fungi, the major way wey dey take reproduce na through binary fission. That is, the primary or the parent cell go divide into two daughter cells. But also dey fit reproduce through the process wey we dey call conjugation. So that one means say two different fungi go come together, come exchange genetic materials, come use am form a new fungi. This one dey very important to note. Then some of the things to also note na say we dey find a lot of fungi for very moist and damp environments. Any place where water been dey small, no be like for inside river or big water body, but anywhere where dey wet or damp, we dey find fungi for all of such areas. And those fungi, they go dey there, they go dey grow for that area. Many times if you leave your clothes now inside your wardrobe for a long time, wear those clothes. Even you notice say if you come back, come see the clothes fit come dey white. You will see say something dey grow for the body of the clothes. If you dey smell am, those clothes go dey smell somehow. Now wetin don happen na say fungi don grow on top of these clothes. Mold dey grow. Many of these fungi, some of them we dey call them mold, some of them we dey call them mildew. E don grow for the clothes, and e fit spoil the clothes. Dey reduce the quality of the clothes, and e fit later lead to spoilage of the clothes. So this one dey very important to note. You also need to note say many fungi dey be wetin we dey call non-motor organisms, meaning say they no get organs for locomotion. They no get flagella, they no get cilia, they no get pseudopodia, they no get any of those things for locomotion. So we refer to them as non-motile organisms. This one dey important to note. Now make I round off this by reminding us of all the examples wey I been don talk, all the examples of the different fungi wey dey. We get mushrooms, we get toadstools, we get Aspergillus niger, we get Aspergillus flavus, we get Rhizopus stolonifer. All these ones na different types of fungi wey dey. Now even as this video dey end, I go dey put out all the diagrams of all these different fungi. E dey important for us to pause this video, look at those different diagrams, understand them, and sabi to fit draw am and label am very correctly. As a biology student, you need to be able to do that and do it perfectly well. Thank you as una been dey lis ten to all these our videos. Una subscribe for our channel and share and encourage all your friends to watch this channel. Thank you for listening.